You're listening to The Head Trash Show with the founder of Head Trash, Alexia Leachman. Head Trash is the home to the new and unique Head Trash clearance method that removes unwanted negative thoughts, feelings and emotions quickly and effectively so that you can achieve clarity, confidence and contentment in your life. Tune in every week as Alexia shares insights and simple strategies to help you create some headspace to experience confidence and clarity in your life and business. To find out how to clear your head trash quickly and effectively using our unique method, pop over to www.headtrash.co.uk to get our free download and subscribe for our free head trash clearance updates. And now for the show.
Hello and welcome back to the Head Trash Show. This is me, your host, Alexia Leachman, and thank you so much for joining me today. Now, today I'd like to talk about pain. And pain is a really interesting thing, as I discovered recently when I was pregnant and facing childbirth the second time. And I decided I wanted to find out a little bit more about pain because I realised that the fear of pain when it comes to childbirth is something that really affects a lot of women. And even though I'd managed to quite successfully overcome my fears of pain for my first pregnancy and hand on heart, didn't really experience pain in my first childbirth, I was obviously worried in case that was a fluke, and I wanted to make sure that I was going to have a pain-free childbirth second time around. So I did a lot more digging around pain and I found out quite a lot of interesting things. And so that's what I want to share with you today, but more importantly is how you can reduce your experience of pain by working on the mind and by how you can use clearing head trash around pain to significantly reduce your experience of pain. And I'm sitting here sharing this with you as somebody who's tried it and used it quite in very sort of what many would describe as very painful experiences. I'm sure you ask any woman on the street about how painful childbirth is, and she's probably going to tell you that it's the most painful thing ever on the planet. And I'm here to dispute that. And I've had now 2 childbirth experiences where I can, hand on my heart, say that they weren't painful. And so I want to share with you what I've learned about pain and hopefully to enable you to benefit from that knowledge and use it in your own life in some way, whether it's childbirth or not. So I think we can all agree that if it works in childbirth, the likelihood is you can use it in pretty much anything. So here goes. So basically, there are 4 things that I think is worth really understanding when it comes to pain. And the most important thing out of all that, before we start really, is the idea that pain is actually a construct of the mind. It really does. The significant part of pain, the part of our experience that comes with pain, is a mental thing. It's something that happens within the mind. Now, the thing about pain is that each of us will respond very, very differently to pain. And so, what one person will describe as incredibly painful, somebody else will be like, well, that's fine, it didn't bother me at all. And so, it's really important to try and understand why one person will experience pain quite significantly and why one person won't. Now, there has been quite some significant research carried out at Stanford University about this, and their main findings are this, is that fear and anxiety account for most of the individual variations in terms of how much pain we feel. And that's quite an interesting concept, the idea that your fear about the pain and how anxious you feel about the pain is what makes up most of that experience of the pain. Now, sure enough, there's going to be part of the experience that it does hurt. So you've just had your leg chopped off and it really, really hurts. So that you can't take away that there's going to be some element of actual pain going on there. However, a huge proportion of that experience is going to be you worrying about the situation, seeing all that blood everywhere, worrying about the pain. Oh, this must be a really painful experience, therefore projecting pain onto it and making any experience of pain a lot worse. Now, also, let me invite you to think about other situations where there may be pain involved. So I'm going to go back to injections, one of my favourite topics, because I feel quite sort of passionately about this. As somebody who used to be enormously scared of injections, and I would say that they were hugely painful, And that's mainly because I would imagine that they would be very painful in advance. And sure enough, they were really painful as I was experiencing them. But as I was so scared of them, again, the fear of pain coming into there, my arm would tense. And what do you think happens when you tense your arm when you're about to have an injection? Well, it's going to hurt, because they all say when you have an injection, relax your arm and therefore it won't hurt as much. And sure enough, now, as I'm relaxed when I have injections, I don't notice it at all, because I'm not scared and therefore my body doesn't tense up, and I'm not worried or I'm not fearful of the pain anymore, because my body is responding differently and therefore the experience of pain has changed. So it's very interesting to me, the idea that the fear and anxiety is playing such a huge role in our experience of pain. And so that means it's basically a construct of the mind. It's a mental thing. And so if we can work with the mental aspect of pain, then we can go a long way to reducing our overall experience of pain. And this is what I really put to the test during my own childbirth experiences. And so I've kind of boiled down my sort of how-tos to 4 basic things, or 4 essential things that you need to do to reduce your experience of pain. So the first one is this: don't anticipate that you will experience pain. So the very idea that you will imagine that you will experience pain, the anticipation of it, will make your experience of pain a lot worse. And this is backed up by research. So feel free to Google this to your heart's content, or you could just take my word for it. But essentially, if you think you're going to experience pain, you are more likely to increase that experience of pain. So I'm not saying that by just imagining it's going to be a pleasant experience, you will remove all pain. What I'm saying is anticipating pain will make you experience more pain. And so by not anticipating it, you will reduce your experience of pain. Now, a classic example of this is when you go to the doctors, again, I'm back on the injections thing, I'm afraid, but you go in, and I notice this a lot taking in my little girl for her injections, and the first thing the nurse says is, "Oh, be careful, this is going to really hurt." And, I'm sort of thinking, stop saying that. Do not tell my little toddler that this is going to really hurt, because she's setting herself up for experiencing and fearing injections her whole life by worrying about the pain that's going to come. Instead, you just, don't worry about the pain that's coming, and don't imagine that you will experience pain. And then the likelihood is that you can reduce your overall experience of pain. Now, I do realise that's easier said than done, and that will be very much linked to your fear of pain. So that's my next thing. So the second thing that you need to do is, if you have any fear of the pain, then clear your fear of the pain. How do you do that? Well, you use our 5-step process that's free on our homepage at headtrash.co.uk, and you clear your emotional fear about the pain that you're going to experience. And so you can do that in 20 minutes maximum, right? So that will go a long way to helping you to not only have no more fear and anxiety of the pain that you may or may not experience, but also makes it much easier to anticipate that you won't experience pain, because fear is probably driving that. Okay, so that's the second thing to do. Now, the third thing that you can do is visualize, and use visualization to, anticipate and imagine a positive outcome for yourself in this experience that you're going to have. So again, let's go back to the injection scenario. Sit there, visualize you having an injection and enjoying it, or, that might be too much for some people, but just imagine you not even being bothered, not even noticing that you're having an injection. There are a lot of people that have injections and don't even notice they've had the injection done and it's finished. So it is possible to have that experience. It's not completely unheard of. Similarly, let me go to the childbirth experience. It is possible to experience childbirth and not be in pain. So just visualize that as an outcome that you would like to experience, and spend some time doing that before this painful thing that you have lined up for yourself. And that, again, can help you to minimise any pain that you may experience during that moment. And then the final thing that I would encourage you to do is to seek out examples of those positive experiences. So, when it comes to injections, talk to people that aren't worried about having injection, and ask them how they go through it, what they do, what their experiences are, and start finding these positive experiences out in the world that exist to back up your idea that it is possible to have a pain-free experience with regards to whatever it is that you're worried about. Now, again, you can do that with childbirth. You can do that with anything where you're worried about the pain that you might experience in something, and just go and seek out, whether it's on YouTube for videos, talking to friends, family, people at work, maybe even the doctors and the nurses, to try and understand a little bit more and whether or not it is possible, whether people do experience these positive, pain-free experiences, and just to remind yourself that it is possible. So that is how I would encourage you to, that's what I encourage you to do if you want to seek out pain-free experiences where possible. So let me just recap those again. The first thing is, do not anticipate that you'll experience pain. Now, this is backed up by research, so I'm not spouting a load of woo-woo here. Literally, you just have to imagine that this is not going to hurt, and that will reduce your experience of it significantly. The second thing is, if you have got any fear or anxiety about pain or of the pain that you may experience, then clear it. There are a number of techniques out there, but you can use our 5-step process from our website to do that. The third thing is visualize a positive alternative outcome, a positive pain-free version of this experience for yourself. And then finally, seek out positive experiences of how things can be different that will support your visualization and support your new beliefs that this doesn't have to be a painful experience. And those are my top tips for helping you to reduce your experience of pain using your mind and the power of the mind. And I can honestly say that this stuff works because I've tried it and I've used it. So good luck with it. Let me know how you get on with it. And if you have any questions, then please come and find me at hello@headtrash.co.uk. Until next time, bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in. You've just been listening to Alexia Leachman here on The Head Trash Show. If you enjoyed the show, she'd really appreciate you leaving a review on iTunes. And don't forget to pop over to www.headtrash.co.uk to get your copy of the free 5 Steps to Clearing Head Trash guide. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes for more strategies, tips and how-tos for clearing your head trash and reclaiming your headspace. Until next time.